why are Muslims not united when we all want the same goal? It's not that we don't work, we do, but each of us goes our own way. And that's why even with all of our effort, the result is zero, sometimes even below zero. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and hold firmly to the rope of Allah all together and do not become divided. Surah Al-Imran, verse 103. This is one of the most quoted verses in our time, but sadly, one of the least practiced. We often mention it when we talk about unity, but we rarely stop to ask what real unity actually means. Today, the problem isn't that Muslims don't work for Islam. Many people work sincerely. They give their time, money, ideas, and energy for the sake of faith. But the problem is that we often pull in different directions. We often pull in different directions. It's like a game of tug of war. Everyone pulls with all their strength, but not in the same direction. So in the end, all that energy cancels out. The results becomes zero, and sometimes even below zero. The problem isn't a lack of work, it's a lack of direction. It's not that we don't try, it's that we don't move together. Everyone thinks they know best. And in the end, the total outcome becomes negative. Islam teaches us that work must have direction and purpose. Just like in physics, force without direction produces no movement. Our efforts without a shared goal produce no progress. Brothers, if we spend our time criticizing each other, if we look for mistakes instead of solutions, if we try to lift ourselves by putting others down, then even our work for Islam brings no benefit, because we're standing still. Look around us. We have many groups, organizations, institutions, movements. Each has its own name, its own logo, its own acronym. But the problem is not in those names. The problem is that we forget there is one name above all names: Allah. Our goal is not for our group to win, but for truth to win, for goodness to win, for Allah's pleasure to win, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleasure to win. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Yusuf, you worship nothing besides Him except names which you and your forefathers invented, for which Allah sent down no authority. The command belongs to Allah alone. Verse 40. This verse reminds us, don't attach your heart to labels, attach it to meaning. And that meaning is Allah. That meaning is Allah. Brothers and sisters, differences are not the problem. Differences are natural. They show richness, not weakness. But we must learn to disagree with kindness. That's spiritual skill and a sign of maturity. Muslims must learn to disagree without hatred, to hold different opinions without breaking relationships. Because when we learn to disagree with love, we actually learn what true brotherhood is. If we still wish good for each other, even when we think differently, then we are pulling in the same direction. If every effort, every project, and every name has the same goal, Allah's pleasure, then we are not longer opponents, but partners. So let's look behind the names, deeper than the labels, and closer to one another. We all hold the same rope. So let's pull against each other. So let's not pull against each other. Because only when we pull together, we are on the same path. ألا إن أحسن الكلام وأبلغ النظام كلام الله ملك العزيز العلام فإذا قرئ القرآن فاستمعوا له وأنصتوا لعلكم ترحمون أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد